I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Playaz, and we survived last week.
And that is the show. Thank you.
I'm Brent Leary. Where's Minnie at when you need her? Anyway, no, it is a beautiful Thursday here in Atlanta. And guess what? It's like 63 degrees.
So I assume there's an emergency, but you don't have to.
There's a state of place. There's a state of emergency still in place in DeKalb County. No,
that was something else.
We're joking because last week we did hold our very first and last inaugural, as you put it, our last inaugural CRM Playaz event celebrating 15 years of doing whatever you want to call what we do here. And actually, given the circumstances, the situation, I think it came out pretty good.
I would agree. It was fascinating given there was snow emergencies and no snow, and there was freezing emergencies and it wasn't that cold, and some people couldn't make it because they imagined the snow and the cold. I'm not sure why, but they couldn't make it. And at the same time, there was some possible issues with the actual venue that we might have had, thanks to our incredible, and I mean genuinely incredible and absolutely nonplussed event organizer, Hilton Thompson, who, by the way, all of you out there, consider this an absolute plug for her. Just hire her to run your events. She's amazing.
Oh, we'll be giving some shine to all the folks that.
Okay, I just couldn't. I can't. I am in awe of her. So thanks to her, we managed to keep the venue open. Things in terms of the operational side went without a hitch. On the back end in real life part, it just was something else. And then it was a gathering in the community, really, is what it was. And it was a genuinely a community.
By the way, I don't know if you can see in the background there, you see what's up in that profile shot of Alan, right?
Alan and Jeff's.
He's already jumped in there, which is kind of cool.
Alan did a presentation with Jeff Gomez on storytelling, and it was incredible.
It was a good story. They told.
Yes, and remember this: there are no heroes to save you any longer.
In the immortal words of Tina Turner, we don't need. Well, I better not sing that. That's
Yeah, actually, now I think of it.
Yeah, I'll stay.
Probably not.
By the way, I'm wearing my LA Strong. Just got this in the mail. Oh, I love this.
The Rams supporting the people in the fires.
Yeah, the fire department and everybody out there. Yeah. Hopefully things are getting better. It's been a long road for those folks. Yeah. But anyway, just got that in. I just wanted to show it off. I feel strong in it myself. All right, so yeah, let's. So we thought what we do today was spend some time the first half of the show, kind of talking a little bit about the event, reliving some of the things. We got some imagery. Don't have any clips yet. The clips are coming shortly. There's lots of footage, so it's going to take some time to get that out there. But once it gets
multiple streams, 7.5 hours of footage.
Yeah. I mean, it's lots of stuff. So we'll save the footage for a little later, but we do have some nice pictures and some things and what was really fascinating to me was the feeling of community. I think was the one that really was prevalent throughout the whole thing. That's what everybody. Oh, look at this. Speaking of one of the community members here, who was at the event, J.R. Clark, wishing you a happy 100th birthday. How nice of JR to do that,
Yeah, he's so kind. My former friend is so kind.
He says you're 100, but you don't look a day over 75, which is really nice.
My former buddy, JR Clark.
But you know what? I picked a few because lots of people were posting a lot of good stuff. And we're very appreciative of, first of all, everybody who braved it was cold out there, and it was icy. A lot of the folks who are locals, like our friend Monique Johnson Dilworth, who did come in and brave the ice
Another
and
rock
cold to join us, and she was like doing double duty because she was at the first part of the day. She was the virtual hostess, hosting from parts unknown. We can't tell you where she was hosting from. She was just not there. But in the afternoon, she came and she was the actual live host for the PPN show segment of the thing.
That's astonishing. Another superstar, man. I swear to God, that's like watching Monique in action. Because we've done shows with her, and she's the person who keeps us on track and gives us context, and then at the same time provides enormous insights of her own while keeping us focused, which is not easy to do both at the same time, but she does. But I've never seen her like do that where she hosted.
Do that
that thing, right?
that thing that was a Lauryn Hill song, by the way.
That I remember. See, now that one I remember.
There you go. All right.
But she is just amazing. I mean, she basically.
All right, you're gonna make me do this.
Okay, do it.
I will keep talking about it. I'm just gonna put up a picture.
Okay, you just got see her in. Oh, there it is. I'm melting already. That's the crew.
I'm melting.
And now it's the Wicked Witch of the West.
Okay.
Wizard of Oz. Okay, that was Stump the Godfather. Yay, I got it right.
Not at all. But so you mentioned Hilton, and Hilton is the one on your. Oh well, if you're looking at the picture directly, she's on your right. Although she's on your left in the picture, but you know how that goes.
No, actually, in my picture, she's on my right, and you're on my left. You know what I'm?
Okay, you're right. Yeah, but okay. So,
but she's on my actual left.
That's what I was trying to say. All right, in the picture, she's on your right. I'm on your left. So that's Hilton, and you were just talking about Monique, who is the third from the left.
Right. Correct. Yes.
Third from the left. Right.
Oh God! I can see this will be done in 20 minutes with this picture. And then Chanel Wheeler, who has been we've been working with her 3 years now? As long as we've existed. Well, you worked with her even longer than me, but we've been working with her as PPN since the existence of PPN, right? And I mean, she's been amazing, and
So she's the one furthest to the left,
right?
Or actually, Jeff's elbow is the furthest.
That's right.
That was kind of underneath.
An entity unto itself.
So why don't you just go through that? So you just hit Chanel.
All right. Then we have Jeff Bond. And okay, so Jeff is tied. Now go all the way to the right. Go one over to the right, and you'll see Thomas Mastro Totaro. Those two. What's the name of the studio? Because I'm so used to just calling.
Well, they're two different companies.
Yeah, but what is like? Oh, that's right. Actually, you're right. But they were a team, right? And they handled all the video, all the audio. They handle all the streaming. They handle all the B-roll, and they're handling post-production. I mean, they are just a force to be reckoned with as far as and the level of the one thing that I personally got. I was, like you, I don't think we had any expectations of this event whatsoever. We knew even if it messed up, it probably would be a good event. But I got overwhelmed by the amount of detail that had to go into this.
Yeah.
I really was, because I'm not used to it.
Remember, Jeff not only was like the producer, he was writing scripts and like the show running, and it was kind of funny.
And Thomas was handling all the feeds, I guess is what it would amount to, all the feeds of varying kinds. And there was a lot of feeds going on. And he would handle the enter the room and then get placed into the feed, that kind of thing too. So he was handling an enormous amount, but those guys were on it, and they did not falter. And then both of them, in combination with, I think Thomas's brother Daniel, did they kind of did a walking tour of what they were doing, and it was really good. And they did it live for the event, and then it was videoed as it was going on. And I think Monique was involved kind of in that video on the video side of it. I mean, it's just really, that part was remarkable. And now let's see, we know me, we know you, right? And then all the way to the right is Heather Willems. Now, Heather, known her a long, long time. So I met her, I think it's got to be 10, 12 years ago at Ray Wang's event and at CCE, which is, now that I'm retired, I guess there'll be 2 events I'll be going to, IRL 2026, if we do one. And I'll go to CCE every year without fail. So Heather visualizes, you've seen those giant boards, and then she visualizes, meaning she's actually like drawing as the conversations on stage are going on, and she's doing it in real time, which is a gift and a skill like remarkable. And she's the best at it I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen others. We actually used them years ago, 2011 at Cap Gemini when we were doing a BPT training session. But Heather had them beaten by a mile as far as just the quality of her work and what a wonderful person she is, and also just the completeness of how she does it. So she was a no-brainer when we were looking to hire, and we had a Heather cam. We had one of our cameras was focused on her doing that. Well, it's focused on the work she was doing, and you could hear the sound in the back, the actual on stage stuff in the background. It was really that's the crew. And you know what? We love you all, man. You guys were remarkable. And I know we'll be working with them again. So even if we don't do IRL 2026, we'll be working with them again.
By the way, Heather is from Minneapolis, and she brought me this.
Yeah, well, so either if Heather had misspelled everything and drawn all the drawings wrong, she still would be rehired because of that mug.
Well, and her daughter apparently thinks that she was married to Prince in a previous life. So
yeah, so it was a 50 million year old relationship to Prince.
That's pretty long.
Yeah, longest one on record.
All right, so since we're kind of going down some of these pictures, so who is not pictured in this picture because she was taking the picture was our photographer. I know her is Kelly. Yeah, I don't remember her last name.
I don't either. She again, amazing, and she was like all over the place taking pictures. She was everywhere. So Dean Landsman, who was one of the attendees and is a regular in our happy hour, which this year, by the way, for those who are interested, is being called Nirvana, the Happy Place. So Dean talked to Kelly and said to her, "Boy, you're taking a lot of pictures." And Kelly said, "This one's easy. It's the only conference I've ever been to where everyone's smiling, quote unquote." Right. So, and her photos are just remarkable.
So I'm going to show you some more because
all right,
there's so much interesting things going on. In addition to the general session, we did have a live studio audience to stream some of the PPM shows. One of them being In the Hot Seat.
Oh, this was amazing. So this is 4 of the actual hosts of the Hot Seat in one place, which usually they have two of them, and there's actually 2 or 3 others who weren't able to attend. So Mike Fawcett, Christy Tupper, Jody Spencer, and Pete Smith. Those are from left to right. You look, I'm sure you've seen In the Hot Seat. If you haven't, watch it. It's Tuesdays at what time?
No, it's Mondays at 1
Mondays
p.m.
At 1 o'clock. Yeah, Mondays at 1.
Eastern.
Mondays at 1 Eastern time. Correct. Eastern. I can't remember that. So watch it. I mean, what they do is very themed series of shows. So they have a series of the number I'm just making this number.
My phone thought you said Siri, and it woke
up. Actually, my phone did not, and I have it right here. They'll do, let's say, a sequence of 4 or 6, usually 4 episodes on a theme, right? 4 of their shows, consecutive weeks will be on or consecutive times will be on a single theme. And they're really interesting and rather deep themes. So they were presenting in the what do we call it? The Playaz studio?
Yeah.
AKA the community room of the Atlanta Tech Village. So that's the 4 of them working it.
I'm trying to figure out what was on the screen behind them. Is that them? Because that looks like Mike, but it doesn't look like Christy because that looks more orange than red.
Very orange. It looks like the Minions.
But I think that's Mike. So I think that's actually them behind it on camera. That's interesting. I just noticed that.
It does look like, well, yeah, it's a different camera angle.
Yeah, it's a different camera
Oh,
angle.
Christy's coat is coming off as orange instead of red.
That's what I was saying. It
What
looks
it is,
weird.
yeah. That's what it is.
But I think that's them. All right, it's interesting. Another show that is on the PPM channel that also did a live studio audience version last week was The Crunch.
Oh, yeah. Dave Smith and Rebecca Wennerman, two of our favorite humans. I mean, without a doubt.
Look, Dave looks all ripped and
Well, he's ripped. That's the thing. Look, even if he didn't work out, that guy, the weight of the camera stuff he carries around, just do that too. He's
it looks like it could be like a TV ad or something.
It actually does. Well, look at that. These two beautiful smiles there. I mean, they're like amazing. So you can see what their subject was. Will agentic AI be the X factor, EX, notice employee experience, for rewiring work and customer experience? And they had Charlie. Was Charlie on their show?
Yeah, Charlie was on there.
Charlie Isaacs, who is the chief customer officer of the, Charlie has like a long title, but he's the chief technology officer actually of the customer. I forget, but customer connection. That's what it was called. What he's called. And Charlie, of course, for those of you who don't know him, you're crazy if you don't know him. You should meet him. He is one of the most irrepressibly wonderful people you'll ever meet in your entire life. He's always positive. He's always thoughtful. He's always funny. He's always and he really, really knows his stuff, like deeply knows his stuff. I mean, he was IoT pioneer. So they brought Charlie on, who was at the event as one of the three Salesforce representatives who were sponsoring, to be their guest, which was, as always, I didn't realize they were going to do that, but I thought it was great.
I think that just was a spur of the moment thing.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Which is really cool. That's what that whole event was, kind of conversational, community, casual.
And given how much time we had to plan it, spur of the moment.
Yeah. So here's an interesting one. Let me tell you why this is interesting. Now, the gentleman with his back to the camera is John Tashik, who is Salesforce's chief strategy officer.
Chief of market strategy.
Oh, now I thought it was chief strategy officer too.
Market strategy officer.
Oh, okay. And you can't see the lady like right in front. Well, in front to the side.
Yeah.
But that's Tina Gilmore, who is the executive producer of the Gilmore Gang. And you can see Ann Chin because she's smiling.
Right.
And that's a real giveaway. If you see a young lady smiling, chances are it's Ann Chin. Yeah. We've never seen her without that smile on her.
Well, as we've said often, if Ann Chin starts smiling, the apocalypse is stop smiling. The apocalypse is upon us.
Yeah. So thank goodness it's not upon us, because she's
not
smiling.
that weak. It almost was, but they sheltered in place.
And then the other gentleman, I didn't know Keith was sporting a black hoodie. All right, so that's
I don't remember that either.
Keith Tier, who is also a longtime member of the Gilmore Gang, but also a serial entrepreneur and CEO of a company called Signal Rank, and been doing things like a serial entrepreneur in the tech space for like decades. This is cool because Keith and John were longtime members of the Gilmore Gang. So they've been knowing each other for like 20 years or something like that. They had never met face to face until this moment.
Isn't that amazing?
It was really interesting because I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. As long as you guys have been doing that Gilmore Gang thing, and you've never, and they both live out in California. Well, no, I guess John lives in I guess he maybe lives in both places, DC and
No, John
California.
lives in the Bay Area.
Okay, I know he's from the like where you are
He's from
around.
the Virginia. His
Yeah.
parents live in Northern Virginia, but he's from the Bay Area now.
So they're both out there, and they're both extremely active in the tech community, and never had met before that moment. Pretty
Yeah.
cool. Pretty
Yeah.
cool. And that wasn't the only story like that, too.
No, we had John Bruno, who's vice president of Pros and a former Forrester analyst, came to the event. And one of the sponsors was Oracle, and they sent 5 people, including Mark Gannon, who works in the CX group at Oracle. As it turns out, when John was at Forrester, so was Mark. They hadn't seen each other since then. And they had no idea the other one was coming until John happened to talk to Mark, and Mark mentioned he was coming to this event. And John said, so am I. So that was another one. And a third one, which is even odder in a certain way, one of the people at the event was Olga Noha, who was basically the creator of marketing and CMO of Creatio for a while, and then moved on to another company. Well, Olga came, and she lives up in the Boston area. And as it turns out, she, as you saw one show in ITHS, Jody Spencer was there. Another person who came was one of our regulars on the happy hour was Jeff Nicholson, who I've known like 23 years. And Jeff is the CMO of Cantata, which is an Excel KKR company. Well, I mentioned, it turns out that all 3 of them, not knowing the other was coming, I mean, Jody and Jeff did, but Olga did not know the other 2 were coming, but they're all involved in the Global CMO Council in Boston area. And in fact, Jody and Olga live like 10 miles apart, and they've been talking about getting together for coffee for like 7 or 8 months. And they finally got a chance when Olga found out Jody was coming. She was like, what? Right. So, and vice versa. When I told Jody Olga was coming too. So that's what I mean. These quote coincidences they're not coincidences really, because this is the one thing I will tell you with CRM, CX, CE, all of that. Unlike any other of the I don't know what to call them, market disciplines, like ERP and supply chain and all these other things, they don't have communities. This is a community. It's an actual community where people gather together who have each other's back, no matter whether you work for a vendor, you're an analyst, you're a practitioner, you're a journalist, it does not matter. Everyone has each other's back and are friends and genuinely enjoy each other's company and don't worry about only keeping the professional bounds that they are supposed to keep. Now they look, everyone knows who they work for and they are appropriate accordingly, but the friendship trumps the excuse the word. I cursed. I'm sorry. Right. The friendship outweighs the professional position completely, unlike any other one. And I investigated that. Just to give you a good example, Jeff Gomez, Alan Bergson's partner and friend who did the storytelling, thought this was going to be a routine community, a routine conference. They'll hear all the talk about, metrics and benchmarks, and everybody will be talking like the professional. When Alan said, no, it won't be like that. And Jeff, after being there for like an hour, came to me actually the night of the reception, came to me and said, I thought this was just going to be like a regular conference. Now I get it. And I said, what do you get exactly? I was get what Alan had told him. Right. So, and we talked for a little while about that. That's what I'm saying. That feeling is palpable at the event.
By the way, you mentioned Olga
Noha
got me these chocolates all the way from Istanbul.
Whoa.
Look at that.
Nice.
Yeah. There you go. You can see Istanbul.
Probably got cat hair on it.
Man, I really love my camera. It really does a nice job with the autofocus there. Finally with Zoom. Anyway,
And what camera is that?
That one is the Panasonic Lumix S5 II or X2, 2X. I forget it's X2 or 2X.
Yeah, the 2X, the one with live streaming capability.
Yeah. One last thing here. We probably need people to help us caption this. What do you remember what was going on when that was happening?
I know. That might have been my question. The one about gaming. How many of you have kids who game?
It was either that or the one during the great debate where we asked, do you think that all this stuff is going to disrupt the
it could be that too. One of those, because there weren't that many questions. And I think is that Janet Field, who's got her head kind of like, huh? The one who's got the glasses up there.
Yeah, I don't.
That's Janet. Yeah, that's Sylvana's buddy.
Yeah, okay. If you had said that,
Karen Field, not Janet. Karen Field.
I know Sylvana.
Great lady.
How about Jeff Dickerson? Jeff Nicholson in the corner, looking directly at the camera with the kind of like with the glasses.
I know. And Scott Jeffer is laughing at something, and so is Dean.
All right, so we even have a debate on that one. Pete saying yes, it was.
The reason I'm thinking it was that,
or then Michael's like it was an AI question.
No, but why are people laughing? Mine was actually kind of funny the way I put it. I remember that.
Oh, I've made people laugh on mine too, because I was like, this is even the audience was split 50-50 on this whole debate thing. But who knows? I think the key is because we don't even know, because it could have been like any of 10 instances throughout.
I know it's definitely mine.
Why is that?
Look at the belly behind on the camera, on the screen. That's my stomach.
The belly.
That's literally my stomach.
That's how we have to determine.
That is my stomach, unfortunately. Sadly, I'll recognize it anywhere.
There it is.
I recognize it anywhere.
The belly has given it away.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's my stomach. Oh my God.
That's too funny. But I mean, just everybody. Look, there's laughs, there's smiles, there's hands up. Everybody is engaged. You know what? I was looking at all these things, all these pictures. There's like over 200 pictures.
Yep, 219.
You know what I noticed?
What?
I don't see anybody looking down on their phones.
Oh,
everybody is completely engaged with what's going on and with each other, and not typing or looking at their phone. Or when's the last time you saw a shot of that many people without somebody holding up a phone or looking down?
Never.
It's a pretty amazing thing, man. I mean, and I looked at all those pictures. There's at least somebody smiling in all these pictures.
See, I looked at all the pictures, but I didn't look at it for the phone thing.
Look at what David Wells has a belly.
I finally knew my career, my next career.
Wait a minute. Did you see what Alan said? It definitely wasn't, will Paul stay retired? Man,
that question came up way too many times.
You know what? Our guest is in the green room.
Oh, I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
But you know what? We can't go to him just yet. We got to take a couple of minutes, just 2 minutes.
I know.
Because you know what else we got to do before all this stuff.
I do.
And now it's time for Stump the Godfather with the venerable Paul Greenberg. Brought to you by Microsoft Dynamics 365 Copilot.
Yeah, shots fired. Yeah, that was the all right. Let me get rid of this. All right, here we go. Because we got our guy in the green room. He's snacking right now, so get a little snack there. All right, here we go. Somebody showed me this.
Oh, so this one I find interesting, at least as a question.
What percent of that should be percentage probably. What percentage of U.S. consumers of connected TV spent their time watching YouTube in 2024?
And the criteria, was there anything like 1 minute counts?
No, we're not doing that. We're just
always doing that. You
just
want
go
to do
with the
Stump the
percentage.
Godfather? That's what you got to take.
Well, that you got to go with just the blanket question. No. How many minutes does a view?
I might say no. If it's 1 minute, then it's not a view.
And our guest
Or
in the green room, please feel free to take a guess too, man. And anybody out there, this one is up for
connected
grabs.
TVs, though. By the way, keep that in mind. Not any TV.
No, yeah,
not
connected
total TVs, because some are.
There's some people still watching like
yeah,
I don't know,
Philco TV,
where they got their wire on their TV connected. That
they
kind
have
of thing.
the antennas sticking up like this.
All right, I think we see a guess. Oh no, we want percentage. What percentage of consumers watched YouTube on the connected TV? So he gave a time number of total time, average total time.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
What percentage? Yeah. Anyway, anybody out there, take a guess before we let you take your guess. I like Jason with the shots fired there. Anyway. Okay, here we got. Okay. All right. So our guest, not really a guest.
I know he's like one of us.
He's saying 48%. And now we got a guess from Jason. Jason Hirsch is saying 40%. So we got 40%, we got 48%. Anybody else out there want to take a shot before we let the venerable Paul Greenberg answer? Pete is saying, wow, Pete is all in.
Yeah.
67%. That's up there, man. All right. I'll give you 10 more seconds to get your guess in before the venerable Paul Greenberg takes his guess. Michael Klein, 33%.
My guess is steady from what it was even before all of these guesses.
Alan is saying 60. Oh, he's doing prices right now. Alan is saying 68%. 1%. Oh, Michael Klein is saying his
That's his number.
Okay. All right. You want to go ahead and take your shot?
56%.
Oh, really? 56%.
Mm-hmm. That's not because of my company name.
That's what it sounded like.
No, I'm gonna fold that company. Yeah, my
family watches.
My family, aka me, watches a lot.
All right, so you got 50. All right, there's a lot of guesses. So we span from 33 to 68%, with you saying 56%. The answer is, I think you guys might be a little surprised by this.
20. That's it. Wow.
Now, compared to all the other, and here's what they're comparing it to.
Well, it's the highest percentage.
It's the highest percentage, but I mean, but when you think about all the people watching connected TV, and that's not YouTube TV, that's just YouTube.
Yeah,
look at YouTube TV is 8%.
This is share. It's not percent.
Well, that's what it was about. It's 20%, 20.7%.
Here's the thing. It's also comparative the way they're setting it up.
Well, yeah. But would you have thought YouTube, not Netflix, YouTube, not YouTube TV, not Hulu, straight up YouTube is still the king?
No, I mean, yeah, I would have actually. I said 56%.
I watch a lot of YouTube. I do too.
I'm
one of those. I watch way more YouTube than any of the other things on here.
I agree. I go to you when, like, you know what I'll do? Sadly, when I'm watching something on Netflix or I'm watching the Knicks game and halftime comes, I'll just go to YouTube and watch something because I know I can find a consumable piece before halftime's over, right? Rather than have to watch through a 70-minute thing or 55-minute thing or 45-minute thing. I find something that's 6 or 7 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I think there was. It's so wait, so 36, 46, 56. No, I mean I
don't even know what the average app. I guess there's a ton of other apps that are averaging 1%.
Well, yeah, there's the illegal apps that allow you to get into things, and then there's there's also, don't forget, Paramount Plus. I mean, there's still streaming CTV apps.
Okay.
There's Paramount Plus and Prime and there's Prime, Paramount Plus and Peacock and those. If Hulu's there, then they should be there too. But they're saying they're less than 1%.
Well,
that's actually
Hulu Live is against the 1%er.
Yeah.
Because you don't see Disney Plus. That's 1%.
Yeah,
I would have thought that would have been a little higher, but anyway.
Way higher. Actually.
YouTube and Netflix. Everybody else is kind of a distant, third, fourth, fifth, whatever.
Well, I now don't trust T-Vision if Disney Plus isn't showing up here.
I only watched. You know why? The only reason I watch Disney Plus, man.
What?
Doctor Who. That's it.
See, I watch Ted Lasso and all these. Well, that's Apple.
Ted Lasso is Apple TV.
Apple. I mean, I watched,
wasn't even on there. That's like 1%, man. All right.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me at all. Actually.
Hey, take that up with T-Vision, whoever the hell they are.
Now I don't trust T-Vision.
All right,
I think the tea they're drinking is cannabis.
Oh no, but I know who you do trust.
Who
you're about to introduce.
That
was a great segue, wasn't it?
No, not really, but but we can go with it. So
let me do the official. Let me turn it over to the venerable Paul Greenberg to introduce today's guest.
This guy's just special. He always has been. He always will be. I love this man. I mean, I met him. I met him when he was an analyst at Forrester, and he was leaving, and he wanted to talk about going independent. And Brent and I and Michael Thomas were doing the what was it called again? The Rock Stars of Social CRM with Radiant 6.
Wow, that was a long time.
He called me. This gentleman called me and said, "Can we talk?" I said, "Well, I'm busy till 10." Little did I know that was like the hour he started things, right? And then we said, "Yeah, we can talk." So I thought, we'd go from 10 to 11, 10 to 11:30, talk about being an independent and all that. And we talk. I put it this way: I started walking back to my hotel at roughly 5:30 in the morning, right? So, and from then on, it's just been it's been amazing. He's one of the most prominent industry analysts. When I say that, he's actually even more. I mean, he is arguably one of the best known analysts in the world in general. He's done a lot of. He's one of those people who looks at the industries, but he can also look at the financial side. So he kind of crosses that line between financial and industry analysts, and he manages to merge them, right, and come up with very credible conversations. So he's made a lot of appearances, not only on his own show, which is called Disrupt TV, and he co-hosted with Vala Afshir, and not only, but he's been on CNBC. He's been on a lot of the big shows, Bloomberg. I mean, every
way. Several mornings, I'll just turn on the TV and CNBC will be on, and Ray's right there. just thought.
Yeah, he gave his name away so early, like nobody.
Sugar Ray.
So this gentleman is also the CEO and founder of Constellation Research, which is one of the most revered and trusted analyst organizations and market research organizations in the world. And he's just a great guy, and I love him dearly. And I believe he now sits on the city council of Cupertino. Let's introduce.
He's given the affirmative head shake.
Yes. Let us introduce our buddy Ray Wang.
Hey guys, how you doing? I heard I missed quite the party last week. So.
No, you were at Davos. You didn't miss a party at all. Weren't you partying over there?
Well, I mean, you probably next year should get your priorities a little straitle. I
totally agreed. If I hadn't had that speaking engagement, I would have been with you guys. So,
well, the first thing we were originally going to ask you about was Davos, and maybe we can still do that. But this other D word kind of disrupted. Not that D word. Another D word disrupted things. And I think that was like Monday. It just really rocked the whole AI world. DeepSeek. Tell us what is all the disruption a valid disruption from what everybody is looking at and hearing about DeepSeek? First of all, maybe you can explain what exactly it is.
All right, so let's call it like it is. DeepSeek is basically a open source version, LLM, that pretty much ripped out all the OpenAI ChatGPT-4 code, personalized it to the Chinese Communist Party's requirements, and then released for free as a intelligence gathering operation. And everybody fell for it. And so it doesn't matter if it's 6 million. It doesn't matter that it's free. It doesn't matter that it disrupted the stock market for a few days. It's the equivalent of having TikTok in the US and not having Google search or Facebook in China. And so what they've basically done is say, hey, look, we're going to democratize all this AI for everybody. And in the meantime, we're going to do some data collection at the same time. And what it did was two things, which was pretty cool. One, it was a psyops. Basically, it was like, oh my God, China destroyed all these AI giants by using $6 million to make this happen. But it also put every single AI company on guard saying, guys, are we too expensive? And I think that was an important piece of this. And so those two actions caused the stock market to tank in the middle of a tech stock week where they were reporting on earnings. But as you can tell, people kind of shrugged it off. They've now realized what it is. And Monday morning, when I said this on CNBC and I said, this is PsyOps, I got so much crap from folks, right? And I was like, no, seriously, this is PsyOps. There's nothing here. This thing's been going on for like a couple months. I mean, they've had it out for 6 months and suddenly everybody just noticed it. But if you watched all the social media activity coming out of Pakistan and China and fake accounts out of Australia, like you knew it was a coordinated attack for the week. And that was the giveaway. Everybody looked at this and said, yeah, something is not right.
So it was basically because these big companies were breaking out their earnings, they dropped it. You think it was time just for that?
Oh, it was definitely timed just to take out the tech stock market, just to counter Trump's, the president's investments, all those big announcements of like, we've got like, $1.1 trillion of investments coming this way. But I do have to say this, right? I mean, unlike the internet age where things were decentralized, open, lots of players and cheaper, AI has been the exact opposite. It's centralized, it's closed, there are a few players, it's super expensive. And so just knowing that we can do this for, 1/100th the cost, that's actually a good thing, right? It puts everyone on alert to say, you can't keep putting a gun to the head of, tech buyers so that they'll have to be forced to pay for AI even if they want it or not. Right. That's the good news. So the bad news is we think China ripped off everything OpenAI had and put it out for free. And it's kind of like a Napster moment. I mean, that's really what happened. It's kind of like what the Russians did to our entertainment business. They pirated everything and made it for free, and artists had to find other ways to make money. I think that's what's being done to us right now.
So where did the $6 million figure even come from?
We don't know. We can't validate it. We don't know if it's 5.6 million or 6, right? We don't know what chips they were using. We think they have specialized chips to make that work. We don't know if, how much of it was trained on OpenAI, which people agree was stolen from everybody else too. But anything publicly available plus OpenAI plus the China, model, I mean, they did a great job, but people do distilling all the time. This is called distillation. And this whole technique of like taking something from somewhere else and then applying it of distillation has been around for a while, but you don't do that with copyrighted stuff.
No. Well, theoretically, you don't do that with copyright.
Well, but it's not like who's going to sue the Chinese government, right? Nobody wants that job.
So what are the long-term implications with all this stuff?
Well, long-term implications is that we know like export controls don't work. You can try as hard as you want, but you can keep trying. We know that, China is definitely very, very good. Like, necessity is the mother of innovation and invention, and that's what they've done so that they can get there. But we really should be asking our tech companies like, hey, how come you're not giving us something this good for free, right? Why is everything in a closed model, right? This makes metaverse, like Meta, right, and Zuckerberg look really smart. Right. While he's working on this AI stuff, he's also working on the metaverse stuff. Right. And he's using the AI stuff to fund everything. So it's going to be interesting to watch.
A pair of sunglasses. Right. So, thank you. You know what? Actually, why don't you do this? Because I'm guessing some of the audience has no idea what you're talking about when you talked about Napster. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. You're right.
Yeah.
So in the 90s and 2000s, when we had to pay tons of money for music, before MP3s were ripped for free,
right.
Like you bought CDs. And what Napster basically was, one person would buy a CD, put it onto the internet, rip it onto an MP3, and everybody would download it through BitTorrents for free. Like, so basically you could go to any server around the world, people would drop stuff, and you could find all the music available, right? And that was truly open sourcing it's called pirating, right. Copyrighted materials, but they open source pirate copyright materials, which is really what the downfall of entertainment. So movies, right? Every actor, actress, movies, books, videos, all pretty much got decimated. So now that's why you only go to they only do live concerts to make money because you don't make money selling albums. So,
well, I know that if I remember correctly, the company that got hit the hardest was Pandora at the time, because they would, not because of Pandora, but because the artists went after them, right? And then they had to work out I know there's I don't remember what is it, ASCAP maybe is the one who holds the
ASCAP is
ASCAP holds the essentially the rights, handles the rights for all the musicians when it comes to digital rights now, which really isn't. I mean, Taylor Swift goes out, she'll make $1 billion on a tour. There's no way in hell you can play her music all day. You're basically subscribing to Apple Music now, and it's $9.99 a month, right? So they're not making much on that $9.99. Right?
They're not. And Metallica was the first group to sue Napster, if I remember. So
yeah.
So let's take a guess at how this impacts a company like NVIDIA or Broadcom or some of these other big companies that have been the poster children for AI the last couple of years. They're the ones that got hit the hardest. What lessons should they take from this, and what lessons do you think they're actually gonna take from this?
Oh, they've got to lock down their code. Otherwise, people are going to rip and steal it. I think that's the first one. And I think the second lesson learned is that your competitors can come from anywhere. And so the pace of innovation is so fast that, what happens if Google looks like AT&T, right? In the middle of the internet area, the telecom giants sucked. Like they couldn't figure out what was in charge. They had the internet. They were the internet and they lost it. That could easily happen to any one of the Mag 7 that's not paying attention. And I think
within that context, it's one of the things that came out. I was talking to Brent about this briefly yesterday because I hadn't noticed it till yesterday, which was at CES, was that NVIDIA is going to release a consumer level machine for around $3,000, which is really, given what it's potentially going to be able to do, that is an insanely cheap price for something of that quality, which a year ago would have been $1 million, right? So can you talk to that a little bit? Because given everything you just said, there's NVIDIA trying kind of a B2C approach, let's call it, not strictly that, but B2C approach to this to try to work on volume and kind of not open source it, but at least volumize it, right? So how's that? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, a $3,000 price point is super affordable for us to be able to get access to AI. That's the most important part.
Yeah.
And having Blackwell on the desktop is really what they're trying to do with the chips. And, if they ever deliver that, that's great. That's going to be the next innovation that's out there. I mean, the challenge with AI is you need large data sets, you need lots of chips, and you need lots of cheap energy. And if you have all three, you get to play. And NVIDIA basically has figured out that, to be honest, I think they have an 18 to 36 month lead. Nobody has anything in pipe that's going to catch up with them. That's really what's driving their stock valuation. But I think the more important question here is, in this US versus China war, the US has the chips, it has the data, and it doesn't necessarily have the energy. Our energy is too expensive. China has cheap energy. It has the data, but it doesn't have the chips, right? And that's really what's going on at this war.
Which is the easiest to get for the other.
For everyone else. Now, we have to basically crank out energy at less than 5 cents a kilowatt hour and keep driving that down to zero if we want to play. And everybody forgets that about AI. They're just like, oh, cool. That's like, no, you need energy to play. And you need lots of cheap energy to play. And in fact, we're short gigawatts of energy everywhere, which is the problem. So countries that don't have the energy aren't even going to play, let alone get to the chips. And then the question is, how digitized are you to get to the data? And the more digitized you are, the more likely you're going to be able to get to better AI.
Well, on the energy side, I know that has become almost the primary focus of the kind of anti-AI crowd. Obviously it's a problem to be solved, and it does have to get solved. But that's literally they've kind of almost given up on the other two, if you know what I mean. They're not even bothering with it. Now it's just, well, do you realize what that's going to do to our energy sources, right? That's come up dozens of times now, and it's really, they make I'd say it's a modestly compelling case, not. Oh, there we go. All right, Marie.
Are they still our dear neighbors? I mean,
yeah, we're trying not to make them the 51st state, but that would be a bad thing. Yeah, they are. They are our dear neighbors, and this is funny. If you've ever stuck around long enough late at night, you get these ads. Ontario, your friendly neighbor to the north. We've been great partners for years. And I'm like, are you worried that we're going to take you over?
TV here. We do. Well, no, look, I mean, I love Canada. I do. I love Canada.
I love Canada.
I'm married to a Newfoundlander, right? So, although they don't consider themselves Canadian, they consider themselves Newfoundlanders, right? But Well, not but. I mean, I would love. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would love to see a genuinely good partnership between the U.S. and Canada working, and the energy can be part of it. I don't have a problem with importing energy. I never did, as long as it's reasonable.
Yep.
But
Yep.
you know, I am. I don't have. I guess the best way to put it is, let's assume the following, just for the sake of it. Let's assume the U.S. isn't able to meet the energy requirements. What's it going to look like 3, 4, 5 years from now? When it comes
We're
to
dead. We don't get to play. I mean, our data centers aren't powered. We won't get to play. We're going to fall behind in AI research. Investment's going to go to other countries. Like, we have to build the energy infrastructure if we want to play. China put tens of thousands of gigawatts on coal-fired plants. They also put a bunch of gas-fired plants. They also have solar. They also have hydro like crazy. And so they're going all out on energy. I mean, here's the thing you got to think about. If China can get to 0 cents per kilowatt hour, not only are we going to get crushed on AI, we're going to get crushed on manufacturing. So if they're the lowest cost producer of manufacturing with a population dynamic that's decreasing over time, they're doing one thing. They're building tons of robots for cheap, and we can't even compete. So that's kind of the geopolitical angle that we always forget, is the fact that whoever has the cheapest energy and the most abundant energy will win. And in AI, it's even more so.
It's funny because it feels like just recently this has become the big concern. I mean, data centers are going up all over the place. A lot of pushback from like residents because they don't want to have them in there anywhere near them. But I don't see that stopping anytime soon. And it kind of makes me wonder. We heard earlier this week about the news of Schroeder Venbu stepping down as CEO to become the chief scientist. Do you think it's these huge issues like this that are driving somebody like him to say, you know what, maybe I need to focus more on these kind of big issues and things that will eventually impact not only companies, but, countries? Do you think that is something you're going to see more of, executive power looking at these big issues instead of and turning over some of the operational stuff to really concentrate on how to solve the issue that you just talked about?
We're seeing it already, and I think companies are trying to figure out, do they relocate to Tennessee because TVA is there? I get lower power. They're thinking about other things like demographic shifts, like where I'm going to get better labor, what states are going to help me do that. So they're definitely having those conversations. Now, Sridhar moving, that's an interesting point. Like, you and I are going to talk about that next week when we're at the Zoho Analyst Day. And that will be interesting to have that conversation to see where he goes, what's he doing, and what the new folks are up to. But every CEO basically, starting since post-election, every CEO has revised their budgets to double down on AI. Every CEO has revised their budgets to figure out what is our exposure to energy, what's our exposure to China on tariffs. And, if you walk out of Davos, which was the question you wanted to ask earlier, I would say the sentiment is it was all about AI, all about energy, and all about what the heck is Trump going to do. I mean, that was really the three themes that came across pretty hard.
Well, I know that I've seen some of the technologies, like on the data center side. Manassas happens to be heavily hit by that. In fact, Manassas, the data center the data centers that are being built here, because it's multiple, are making a lot of the population fairly rich. They're buying their homes, which are worth $650,000 for $2 million, right? Yeah, they're just paying them off, and they're just, hey, we'd like to buy your home, get out. Right, here's $2 million. Bye.
Wow.
People are going, yeah, I'll see you.
Wow.
Don't let them offer me that, because I'm out of here if that happens.
Yeah. So
you'd be doing like players from Aruba or something.
Well, one of the things that has come up in conversation more than once is the underwater data centers that are being built, again, for cooling and energy purposes. They're talking about.
You hope those puppies are airtight.
Well, who was it? We weren't all three of us at an event. I want to say it was Oracle that showed it.
I think it was Oracle.
Yeah,
I remember something like that.
And that kind of goes to your relocating to Tennessee thing too, right? Oracle, right? So.
They're in Nashville now. That's their headquarters. You're right.
Yeah, and that's what? How long after they were in Austin? Like what? A month?
2 minutes?
Like
3 years, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe
No, the
so.
mayor of Austin, apparently the mayor of Austin didn't know this was happening, nor did the mayor of Nashville. So
What?
they just made the announcement, didn't tell anyone. I mean, it's like,
Hi, by the way, we've opened up a 2 million acre plot in Nashville. We bought out half the city. And hey, Mayor,
just by the way.
Larry Ellison's the new mayor of Nashville, right? So yeah. So, but again, so what would be? Let's say this, for example, we had that guest from just now from Quebec City, Marie, because it said QC. I saw that.
Yep.
So Quebec has a ton of hydropower, like an enormous amount of hydropower. What about those kind of, if not, let's say, strong alliances, but those kind of energy agreements? I mean, are they practical? Are they possible? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to see more power purchase agreements. I think they're going to do them in advance. I think people are going to help defer the capex costs to build nuclear power plants, gas-fired turbines. Any kind of coal-fired plants might come back with scrubbers, hopefully. You're going to see all in. The energy strategy is all in going forward. Hydro is the best if you can pull it off. I think Canada does that rock on hydro, and they basically have, Canada should have a lot more cheaper power than it does. I think they were kind of hamstrung by their government for the last decade. So,
well, I mean, Quebec's the known power center for hydro. I mean, when I would go up there for Caveo, because I was doing a lot of work, I would always see conversations about hydro and expansion of this plant, and the expansion level is enormous, and they still haven't fully tapped the resources yet. So,
yeah. No, they got a lot of room to go, and then there's always Alberta, right? I mean, it's gas.
Alberta's gas, oil.
What does this do to the drill baby drill? I mean, that kind of helped center the last election. Do you think the AI and the power consumption is going to finally push our government to open up and to really dig in and invest in all these other potential ways of getting energy?
Oh, it's happening. It's happening. If you talk to the folks, that are basically the oil services company, they're super excited. They know it's definitely coming. All energy, all in, all the time. It's kind of there. I don't know if we'll open up coal mines again or do that, but it's definitely natural gas is on fire. Literally, oil and gas is kind of the way to burn. You're going to see a lot more, solar and batteries, right? If you look at Tesla's earnings, like a few hours ago, actually, yesterday. If you look at Tesla's earnings, like their energy side of the business grew 113%. That's more megapacks. That's batteries. That's solar. That's these farms. Yeah. So that's good news.
So what about if you're, again, I'm realizing this is just a guess, but if you're guessing at the percentage of increase in power production the U.S. needs just to sustain, much less advance the AI success, what is it? Again, I realize it's a guess, but what is it? 50%? Is it 150%? Is it 10%? What?
Yeah, I think it's something like 30% more power from where we are. So we need something like 4 gigawatts, I believe. Something like, it's 4 gigawatts. We need 4 gigawatts. A nuclear power plant, like the small modular ones, are like 100, maybe 200 tops. So that's like 20 nuclear power plants that we probably need. Or you could build 4 big gigawatt plants, which would be crazy. I mean, not that anyone has the time or money to do that, but we got a lot of spent rods we can use, or we can switch to new types of nuclear reactors.
Yeah, I know that the research on new types is going on. It's been going on for 50 years, actually.
Do we need to, as we're doing all this, we're also seeing this crazy weather stuff going on. Where does that play a role in all this power grab, what it's actually doing to the climate?
Well, that snowstorm that took out, some guests like last week were kind of interesting. Snowstorm, right?
but God's dandruff. That's
the 12 inches they got in New Orleans.
Yeah, I mean, pre Super Bowl, that must have been fun. I mean, it comes down to this: you got to have you have to think about all this climate change that's happening. We're not sure exactly where all the sources are, but you got to roll with the punches. And if you need 4 more gigawatts of power, maybe you take it solar in some places. Maybe you take the hydro because you have the water. But at the end of the day, you're going to still need the ability to hold on to that power, and that's where the battery storage becomes important. I don't care how you got it; the battery storage is there to make sure you don't lose it.
That's perfect.
Yeah, Ben. Great, Scott. I haven't heard that one in a while there, Ben. Thanks for all
Great.
right. So what should we be looking for the rest of the year? Is there anything other than AI and power consumption that we should be thinking about as the course of this year goes?
We're going to see space tech take off. That's an important one. The reason space technologies are important is because anything we do in space is sustainable. You only have so much you can play with up there. And so any space tech that we have, we can bring it back to sustainability onto the US. I think the second one is we're going to see a lot of stuff on the bio front, anything from new biomaterials. That's going to be a hot area. And then the third disruption is really just all the crazy stuff that's going to happen in automation. Robots are coming online super fast. So for example, if BYD can build an electric car for $10,000, we can only hold them so long with tariffs. And so we have to have a way to build cars cheaper, and it's going to come with those Optimus robots, right? I mean, they're going to be there pumping as much. You can see more and more of them get onto the line. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens if population goes from 7 billion, 8 billion, 9 billion, 8, and back to 7. Can we do it in time for that automation so that we can minimize the loss of jobs along the way? I think that's the big question for next year.
Wow. All right. So we'll see it. Well, I'll see it because the venerable Paul Greenberg doesn't do that stuff anymore.
I don't go anywhere anymore.
Oh no, that was your last one last year with Delgado out.
Well, the deal is, and it's a very simple deal. If Brent and I are paid to engage at an event, I'll go. Then I'm going to CCE. That's it. And then, of course, if we do IRL 2026, I'll go there. Obviously,
you better.
But the only conference that I'll go to where I won't get paid is yours, because I
appreciate it.
Your conference. Oh, I love your conference.
Constellation Connect Enterprise. It's the 20th October. Mark that date down. 20th to 23rd, Half Moon Bay again. So.
Okay.
What about AXS? When is that this year?
AXS is the 24th through 26th. So it's in Woodinville. So hop on up if you guys want to. And then
what month was that?
In February.
I don't like urban.
And then we have our AI forum a week later, March 6th in Menlo Park. So
wow, you are rolling now.
You got a lot of events.
And also, why don't you tell people when they can watch you and Vala on Disrupt TV too?
Oh, every Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. You can catch us on Disrupt TV. So
who's your next guest?
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know off the top of my head, but I'll know tonight.
All right.
And we have a great producer.
We need to do another crossover thing. It's been a couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm doing some cross broadcasting right now on LinkedIn and Twitter. So we're cross broadcasting onto some of the stuff we're doing. So,
yeah, but we want you and Vala on as a team, and we'll.
Oh yeah, we'll do that. We'll get you guys on.
You got it.
All right. Well, thanks again, man, for taking some time to do this. And next year we'll make sure that your schedule is clear on the date that we do. If we do it, we're not committing to anything yet, but we'll check just to make sure.
We'll give a final announcement one way or the other, though, very soon, just so we don't hold people in suspense.
All right. Well, hey, always an honor to be on your show, and thanks.
You're the best.
Take care, man.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right.
That was awesome as always. I love him, man.
Yeah, of course.
I do.
Oh, sorry, JR. Your question for Ray, maybe you'll get it tomorrow. Get it in tomorrow on Disrupt TV.
Go to Disrupt TV, 2 p.m. our time, JR.
And by that time, you can get your happy 103rd birthday.
Well, it'd be, I've known, so I met JR when he was 71. So he's about 5 years older than I am. I
have to say, you guys both age very well.
Yeah, well, I think we look pretty good.
All right, that was great.
Yes.
That's a perfect way to follow up IRL 2025 is having Ray just do whatever.
And thanks for the people who watched who we know well, and thanks for those of you who we don't know well who did come for first, second, third time that we know of anyway. If you watched before, we really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Now next week is going to be good too.
Yeah.
Because now the last time we spoke to Colin Fleming, it was his first week at ServiceNow during the Knowledge 24 event.
I think it was his first official day.
Was it his first day?
Yeah, his first official day. He was there, but he was announced that day.
So we told him, we'll give you some time to settle in before we ask you to come back. Well, he's had sufficient time, and so next week's show, Colin Fleming, CMO of ServiceNow, will be joining us again. We're looking forward to that.
We are sure. He's a great guy, and I think this is a guy who just knows what he's doing, and you'll remember him from Salesforce Plus. So make sure you come.
Any last thoughts on IRL 2025?
Look, I loved it. I really did, and it worked. And the bourbon and donuts seem to pair well, right? Although I have ideas for next year if we ever do it, and if we don't do it, I still want to do this anyway, right? Even if we don't do it, I think we'll hold a 1-hour event somewhere, and we do what I got in mind. I won't tell you what it is yet, though.
Well, he's gonna leave us in suspenders.
I'm leaving I tell you if we were off the air, but right, so.
Well, we're about to be off the air. So
Good.
Speaking of which, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Players, and even though it's a new year, it's still an old mini. That
The
didn't
year
sound
of
right.
mini.
It's not an old mini. It's just mini. See you later.